Fiona Harvey's legal case against Netflix just got an enormous boost, as it has been declared by People magazine that Baby Reindeer has been deemed potentially libelous, clearing the way for real-life Martha to take Netflix towards a trial. Fiona Harvey wins a ruling that viewers could understand the series to be ultimately a true story that hurts her reputation. Now, I know a lot of people in the comments right now will be like, what reputation? I'm not here to talk about that. You know, let's go off of the assumption that she has got a reputation to uphold. And obviously, the courts and the judges aren't stupid people. You know, if she didn't have a reputation that could be damaged, I mean, regardless of everything, I mean, Netflix are throwing the book at Fiona Harvey at this point. They've literally brought in every Tom, Dick and Harry that's ever had crossings or dealings with Fiona Harvey to prove that she never had a reputation to begin with in Netflix's own kind of terms. But, you know, ultimately, it's down to the courts and down to the judge. But a judge has determined that Baby Reindeer could be understood by viewers to be a true story, allowing Fiona Harvey's defamation lawsuit against the series and streaming network to move forward. On a judicial order obtained by People, a court has disagreed with Netflix's claim that the show created by Richard Gadd is fictional in many of its details, despite written text on the screen at the beginning of the series that reads, "This is a true story." Now, Netflix did go down the route of saying that this was like a full circle moment. Obviously, I'll go over it again. I think I've said this about 10 quadrillion times, but basically, obviously at the end, we see Richard Gadd open up his laptop. He's got the full, list of dealings with Fiona Harvey in kind of a chronological order. And then he starts writing the script for Baby Reindeer. And one of the first things that he writes is "This is a true story," which is supposed to be like a full circle moment from the end of the movie looping round to the very beginning of the movie. And basically, obviously, we can hear typing at the beginning, and it says, "This is a true story," written out and typing, and that's supposed to be Richard Gadd writing the story of Baby Reindeer and then reliving it at the same time, if that makes sense. And that was the route that Netflix went down, but the courts aren't buying it. They're having none of it. They're like, nope, that's BS. So, you know, sorry, Netflix, that one didn't cut the cake for you. But the determination was made following Harvey's lawsuit over the implications of her actions as portrayed by the character Martha on the show. The result is that the judge has allowed most claims of the lawsuit to proceed forward to trial. Now, it's interesting that the most claims have been taken forward. Obviously, I know that both parties wanted a lot of information kind of thrown out of the case. From Fiona Harvey's side, they wanted the emails removed. From what I've seen recently, they wanted some of the threatening letters from Fiona Harvey to be redacted and removed, and other things like this. And they also wanted Laura Ray's testimony to be thrown out. They wanted other people's testimonies to be thrown out as well. But Netflix, the judge has been like, no, it's going to proceed with everything, pretty much. And on Netflix's side, they also just wanted Fiona Harvey thrown out. So, in this order, Judge Gary Klausner compared Gadd's experience with Harvey to Martha's actions in the series, stating that there is a major difference between stalking and being convicted of stalking in a court of law. Inappropriate touching and sexual assault and shoving and gouging. So, obviously, those are the things that they're contesting. So, within the show, it was, basically, he's comparing the real-life actions from Richard Gadd's account to the show. So, within the show, Fiona Harvey was said to be a convicted stalker, but in Richard Gadd's testimony, she was just a stalker. So, he's saying there's a huge difference between those two in a court of law. Within the show, she sexually assaulted Donnie. And within real life, she apparently inappropriately touched him. All right. And then in the show, she was seen to be gouging out his eyes. And within the real life, apparently she just shoved him. So, you know, I can kind of see where the judge is coming from. Like, obviously, he's taken what did happen, allegedly, but he's, like, really exaggerated it to make it, or the show has really exaggerated it to make it obviously more kind of like horrible. I suppose, for want of a better term. So, you know, you take inappropriate touching of Richard Gadd's bum to, you know, grabbing his groin down an alley. Shoving got turned into gouging someone's eyes out. And then stalker or stalk-like behaviour being turned into a convicted stalker. Obviously, that's the big one, isn't it? That really got us in this position, which is, you know, the alleged stalker being turned into a convicted stalker. So I can kind of see where he's coming from with that. Harvey alleges that the lawsuit, that the portrayal of the obsessive stalker Martha on the show is defamatory in relation to her encounters with Gadd, 35. In Baby Reindeer, Gadd plays a version of himself called Donnie Dunn, though he says that he changed some events slightly to create dramatic climaxes. He told The Guardian in April of 2024 that the story is resoundingly true. It's very emotionally true, obviously. I was severely stalked and severely abused, he said, but we wanted it to exist in the sphere of art as well as to protect the people it's based on. Netflix asked in July for the lawyers to be thrown out with Gadd's support, as he maintained that Harvey did stalk and abuse him. He also clarified that the show depicted his personal experiences, though parts of the story were fictionalized. At the time, Netflix argued that the reasonable person would not understand that statements regarding Harvey to be assertions of fact, and that a reasonable person would understand from context that the elements are not factual due to their cinematic events elements used in the series. Now, obviously, the whole idea of Fiona Harvey putting forward this information of people sending her like death threats and really abusive messages was kind of to summarize the fact that actually, like, the reasonable viewer literally did identify Fiona Harvey as Martha, and that's why they sent her these messages. If you haven't seen the messages, you know, there was a video about it a couple of days ago that I put up, but, you know, that's not me excusing Fiona Harvey's behavior by any means necessary, but what it does do is it kind of like it puts into context why the judge has kind of let it proceed, and it does make sense to a degree. Klausner wrote, the very first episode states unequivocally that this is a true story, thereby inviting the audience to accept the statements as fact. Harvey filed a defamation lawsuit on June 6th, asking for over $170 million in damages after she claimed that she was being harassed following the show. She also vehemently denied sexual assaulting Gadd and being a convicted stalker, stories of which were portrayed in the limited series. In a 20-page declaration supporting Netflix's effort in July to have the case dismissed, Gadd stated that he first met Harvey while he was working at a pub, and that she said, subsequently stalked and harassed me throughout 2014 through 2017. Gadd alleged in the court filing that Harvey touched him in a sexual way that was unwanted, and claimed that she got a hold of his personal information and contacted him relentlessly, sending him thousands of emails, voicemails, and handwritten letters, including sexually explicit, violent, and derogatory content, hateful speech, and threats. Most of which of these we have actually seen. And you know, it's pretty bad. He also alleged that he grew fearful of Harvey as her stalking continued, and eventually contacted the police to pursue legal action when her messages grew more sexually explicit. Gadd added that filing that Harvey was the one who identified herself to the press as Martha following the airing of the show, obviously going on to Piers Morgan Uncensored. So there you go. Basically, Fiona Harvey has had a huge boost. It has basically, because there was a lot of speculation about, was the case thrown out? Was it allowed to continue? Now we can definitely see that it was not thrown out. It's definitely been taken to the next level, and it is going to proceed. It looks like a lot of the information is going to remain intact for the case. And it's anyone's game now, really. I went into this thinking, yeah, Fiona Harvey doesn't stand a chance, right? And that was truly my opinion. I was like, well, she can't win. She can't. Like, after everything, she can't win. And then I'm like teetering. I just keep teetering. Every time I see something, Richard Gadd releases something, I'm like, yeah, Fiona Harvey can't win. Then I see Fiona Harvey's lawyers respond, and I'm like, well, actually, she's got a fair point there. And then I've seen this, and I'm like, well, she could actually win this, because there's like genuine like, cause. Do I think she deserves to win? In my personal opinion, no. Absolutely not. Do I think she could win? It's looking a lot more likely than not. What do you guys think, though? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. While you're down there, be sure to jump to get the hell out of that like button if you have not already. Subscribe if you're new, and until next time, I'll speak to you later.